Hare Krishna. Can you hear my voice? Am I audible? Okay, let's start. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Parishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for joining today's session. We have been discussing from the uh, eighth chapter of the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Here in this particular chapter, Bharat Maharaj becomes a deer. This was the topic that we were discussing. So we saw in the previous chapter that Bharat Maharaj had gone to the forest and he wanted to uh, perform devotional austerities away from the kingdom. So one day, after performing his daily rites and having taken bath, he was sitting on the bank of the river and chanting the Krishna mantras for 3 muhurtas. And here, very clearly, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in the beginning of the commentary, he says, Krishna, an ocean of cleverness, protected this deer who was previously Bharata to show that compassion. If it is an obstacle to bhakti, must be given up. So the Lord shows his affection for his devotee by protecting Bharata in the form of a deer, so that he would fall in an ocean of remorse in order to be drawn in the ocean of prema. That was the purpose. So then, at that point of time, a female deer, a doe, being very thirsty, came near the water. While the doe was drinking water, he heard the roar of a lion, and hearing that sound, the doe, whose natural nature was to be alarmed, with restless eyes, with the fear of the lion entering its agitated heart, in terror, it leaped over the stream in the same instant, and without satisfying her thirst. So, and she was pregnant also. And when she jumped up, her fetus came out, being pushed out by great fear, and it fell in the river. And the mother doe, being afflicted with exhaustion, fear, and the jump and the discharge of the fetus, all of that put together, and also being separated from the flock, she became very exhausted. She went to a nearby cave and she died there. So the great Bharat Maharaj, seeing that helpless fawn floating down the river out of compassion as a friend, thinking its mother had died, took the fawn, which had no friend. So he took it to his hermitage. He became very compassionately disposed towards that fawn, which means the young deer. And he considered it as his own child. He daily fed it, protected it, caressed it, pleased it. And in this way, he started becoming completely absorbed in the deer. And one by one, little by little, he started giving up his own regulations and rules of conduct. And slowly his worship of the Lord also, bit by bit, in a few days, everything became neglected. Everything became neglected. So he would always think, oh, by the will of providence, this young deer has lost its relatives and friends and has taken shelter of me. It does not know anyone else but me. It has faith in me. Therefore, I should not neglect someone who has come in surrender. And I should raise, I should protect, I should gratify and fondle this deer. Like that he was thinking. And then his intelligence also started supporting what he was doing. Justification. Because the mind became completely, the mind was caught up. So now what is that? What is that verse in the, Bhagavad Gita. Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano anuvidiyate tadasya harati pragyam vayurnavam ivambasi. So Krishna says that how even one of the senses which is wandering here and there, it will pull the mind, and when the mind will pull the intelligence also. So that senses pulling the mind and mind pulling the intelligence is only elaborated in, we were seeing it on Friday also. This is what is elaborated in that dhyayato vishayan pumsam sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamat krodho bijayate krodhat bhavati sammohat smriti vibrama smriti bramshat buddhinashat pranashyati. So in this series of verses, how it elaborates on this verse, indriyanam hi charatam yanmano anuvidiyate tadasya harati pragyam vayurnavam ivambasi. So this sequence is elaborated in these two verses. So dhyayato, first the senses come in touch with the sense object and the mind starts meditating on that. Dhyayato means, hey, it's nice. Okay, generic appreciation, what Srila Prabhupada calls as thinking. Okay, then comes Sangaha. I like it. Prabhupada says feeling. Then Kamaha. Prabhupada says willing. I want it. Okay. Kamat Krodho Vijayate. And when there is an obstacle to attaining that, then there is Krodha. And when there is no obstacle and you get it, you want more and more Lobha. So these are more intense forms of mind coming into mind surrendering. Okay. So till now we have seen Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano anuvidiyate. How the wandering mind wandering senses, even one of the wandering senses captures the mind. So the surrender of the mind is described in these four stages. Okay. So first is Sanga, Dhyaya, Dhyayato, then Sanga, then Kama, and then comes Krodha or Lobha. So Krodha or Lobha are very intense forms of absorption of the mind. And when the mind becomes so powerfully absorbed, then intelligence cannot fight. Then the intelligence starts surrendering. So Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha. So how the intelligence surrenders? First comes Sammoha. Sammoha means complete bewilderment. Okay. What is right, what is wrong, the intelligence is unable to discriminate. So the first step of intelligence surrender is it loses its discrimination. Sammohat Smriti Vibrama. The second stage is loss of memory. Memory is another symptom of intelligence. So loss of memory means what? He would have planned when he was in good intelligence and good sense. Okay, the Shastras say that if lust attacks, what I should do? Step one, I should do this. Step two, I should do this. Step three, I should do this. Step four, I should do this. So he starts forgetting all those things. And when the memory is lost, then Smriti Bramshat Buddhi Nasho. The third stage of intelligence surrendering is what is mentioned as Buddhi Nasha, indicates loss of determination to fight. The loss of determination to fight sense gratification, that is also lost. Pratibramshat buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati. So then he completely engages in material activities without remorse. Okay. So in this way, this is step by step, this thing. So he started neglecting his own important interests for such purposes. So, and the intelligence was also giving justification. Oh, this is very much needed. Okay. This is very much needed. I like that. Okay. And when the intelligence gives justification, the guilt is lost. And when the guilt is lost, then that's it. Okay. And there is nothing that we can stop us because we are not even feeling bad about our state. So then we discussed Having developed attachment, he became bound by affection to the young deer while sitting, sleeping, walking, bathing, and eating. When he went to collect kusha grass, flowers, wood, leaves, etc., he would fear that, oh, maybe monkeys or jackals or wild dogs may come and attack the young deer. So he would take that deer along with him. Okay. So he would carry the deer on his shoulders when he would go to the forest. Okay, because it was helpless. Or he would keep it on his lap or chest and he would pet the deer and he would feel great bliss. Okay. So this is how attachment develops, from a very pious intent, seemingly very pious intent. But the problem is not everything that is pious is necessarily favorable for Krishna consciousness. Not everything that is pious is necessarily favorable to Krishna consciousness. So expression or exhibition of compassion is very good. That's what Bharat Maharaj is doing here. But that exhibition of compassion should not be at the cost of one's own Krishna consciousness. So always one should be guided by the principle of anukulyasya sankalpo pratikulyasya varjanam. Okay. That is one should never lose track of that value system. One must never lose track of that value system. Okay. That is very important. But here in the case of Bharat Maharaj, of course, we will very soon come to know that this was specially arranged by Krishna. This was specially arranged by Krishna in order to increase his intensity of attraction to him. So, and sometimes not seeing the deer, his mind would become pitifully disturbed, like a miser who lost his wealth. He would become greatly bewildered and lament. His heart was pained by pangs of separation from the small deer. With longing to see it, he would speak as follows. He would say, perhaps this young, helpless deer whose mother has died, having faith in me, though I am actually cruel like a cunning or low-class person and have no pious credits, will not consider my offense and will return out of kindness. So he will think that, oh, maybe I neglected the deer who had come to take shelter of me. I was such a cruel person. So maybe the deer who is very kind-hearted will not consider my um, offense, and he will come back like that. He would think. Perhaps I will find that the deer has been protected by the Lord. So he said, maybe the Lord would have protected him. Okay. And he is grazing somewhere else. Or maybe is it that a wild wolf or a jackal or a tiger has eaten the deer? Maybe that's something that could have happened. And oh, the sun is setting and the young deer entrusted to me by its mother has not yet returned. Perhaps the prince amongst the deer will return and driving away my grief by his pleasant deer actions, give happiness to me who have not done any pious acts. So, I mean, this indicates a very deep attachment that he has developed. Okay. So, naturally, when that Vatsalya develops, one starts seeing that dependent to be very beautiful, very intelligent, very filled with all good qualities. So when you develop that attachment, then you start seeing all good qualities. Like my grandfather is, sorry, my father is there. Okay. Generally, grandparents have a more deeper attachment to grandchildren than parents have for children. Generally, sometimes, especially if it is a single grandchild or something like that, like in my parents' case, the single grandchild, they shower all their affection. So when that affection develops, then uh, the grandfather starts, um, you know, calling the grandchild princess. Okay. Oh, come, princess. How are you, my princess? Okay. Like that. So this is very natural. When that affection is there, so here the deer has become prince amongst the deer. The prince amongst the deer. That's how Bharat Maharaj is Harina Rajakumarah. Oh, Rajakumar. Harina Rajakumarah. So this clearly indicates the depth of attachment, princess. I mean, I'm sure the classmates would not address her as princess, but for the grandfather, oh, she's the princess. Okay, she's the princess. And here is what um, Bharat Maharaj is also seeing. Oh, the prince amongst the deer. How does he know? Has he observed all the deers? But no, but because, and and there is a proverb in Tamil also, kakkaikum tan kunju pon kunju, meaning for a crow, uh, his own chick. I mean, I don't know whether you call, what do you call a crow's offspring? Chick, maybe something like that, whatever. So that is also black in color only. But the crow thinks, though she's so beautiful, golden in color, like that. Oh, she's so beautiful, golden in color. Huh. So, like that, naturally, the mother crow thinks like that. So here is Bharat Maharaj thinking, oh, this must be the prince amongst all the deers. This very clearly indicates the depth of attachment, the depth of attachment. And then he thinks, oh, when I would close my eyes and fake samadhi. I mean, Bharat Maharaj was, at the stage of bhava. And samadhi, in that smarana dasha, samadhi is accomplished at the stage of asakti only. In bhava, one actually receives one spiritual body. And here is Bharat Maharaj, of course, by the arrangement of Krishna, faking samadhi, which means he is not no longer absorbed in Krishna. He is thinking, he cannot but think of anything else other than the deer. The deer would approach in great alarm and out of anger because the deer needs all the attention. So she would start, or he would start head-butting Bharat Maharaj to catch his attention. Okay. And when the deer would, and sometimes when Bharat Maharaj would collect the ingredients to perform his sacrifice or perform certain spiritual activities, the deer would come and put his mouth and contaminate the ingredients, and still, and Bharat Maharaj would again, I mean, ideally he should become angry and upset. He would again fake anger. He would fake anger, and the deer would become afraid, and he would sit with restrained senses, like that. And then Bharat Maharaj is thinking, oh, what kind of penance this earth must have done that the earth is carrying the footprints of this deer, you know, like that. Or another meaning is that the earth is being very merciful upon me, that it is showing me the path of wealth, the greatest wealth. And what is the greatest wealth? Where the deer is. And what is the earth showing? The tiny footprints of the deer. The earth is showing, and he feels very grateful to earth for showing him the path to his own son, whom, I mean, he was seeing the deer as his own son. The Lord in the form of the moon, affectionate to helpless persons, is protecting this young deer, whose mother died out of fear of a lion and who has left my hermitage. When will this moon give me the pleasure by its rays of cool, peaceful nectar flowing from its mouth of attraction for me as I pursue the deer? While my heart, like a land lotus, burns with the feverish flames of forest fire of separation from my son, Atmaja Vishlesha Jwaradava Dahana Shikabhi, like that he says. Yeah. So this is where we ended our discussion. on Friday. Now, how did Bharat Maharaj reach this state? That we are going to discuss. We have some time, and we have about, we are in 56, 75, about 20 slides left in this chapter. We will try to cover this chapter. This is a very important landmark purport. Landmark purport. Okay. So we will take this purport and see. Of course, before that, the verse itself. So here, Srila Shukadev Goswami says, Evam agatamana manoratakula hridayo mrigadhara mrigadharakabhasena swarabdha karmana yogarambanato vibramshitah sa yogatapaso bhagavad aradhana lakshanat च कथम इतरता जाति अंतर येण कुणक आसंगः साक्षात् निश्रेयस प्रतिपक्षतया प्राग परित्यक्त दुस्त्यज हृदय अभिजातस्य तस्यैवं अंतराय विहत योगारंभणस्य राजर्षेर्भरतस्य तावद् मृग अर्भक पोषण पालन प्रीणन लालन अनुसंगेन अविगणयत आत्मानं आहिर इव अकुबिलम दुरतिक्रमः कालः करालरभस आपद्यते. Okay. So he says, evam aghatamana manorata akula hridayah. His heart afflicted by unfulfilled desire. You know, because he was really concerned about the deer. Saha, Bharat Maharaj, yoga arabhanato vibramshitah. He fell from his practice of yoga. So Bharat Maharaj fell from his practice of yoga. Yoga tapaso bhagavad aradhana lakshanat. He fell down from his detachment from material enjoyment achieved by bhakti. By bhakti, he had achieved detachment from material enjoyment. He fell down from that also. And even from his worship of the Lord, by the Lord's special arrangement of prarabdha karma, su arabdha karmana. So it says the phrase is su arabdha karmana is becomes swarabdha karmana. Swarabdha karmana. That is how the sandhi becomes swarabdha karmana. So now swarabdha karmana, if you split it, it can become su arabdha karmana or swa arabdha karmana. Arabdha karmana means prarabdha karma. So now, if you split it as swa arabdha karmana means, it would mean by his own prarabdha karma. By Bharat Maharaj's own prarabdha karma, he became attached to the deer and he fell down. You can take it like that. Or if you split swarabdha karmana as su arabdha karmana, then the prefix su means auspicious, pleasant, very good. Whereas the prefix swa indicates one's own. So swa arabdha karmana would become one's own or his own prarabdha karma, or su arabdha karmana means some auspicious kind of prarabdha karma. So now what is that auspicious type of prarabdha karma? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti says, that which is arranged by the Supreme Lord. That is why he takes swarabdha karmana as su arabdha karmana. Okay. So he became detached, or he fell down from even his worship of the Lord. How? Su arabdha karmana, by the Lord's special arrangement of prarabdha karma. How? that Prarabdha karma was arranged? Mriga Dharaka Abhasena, through the appearance of the young deer. Katam itarata jatyantara yena kunaka sangaha. How else could he develop attachment for the young deer if it was not for the arrangement of the Supreme Lord? Hmm? Prak Parityakta Dustyaja Hridaya Abhijatasya. While Bharata, who had previously rejected his own sons, hmm, he had previously rejected his own sons. Okay. Uh, why? Sakshad Nishresa Pratipakshataya. Pratipakshataya means because of being an obstacle. He saw his own sons as being an obstacle to his progress, and he accepted a deer as his own son. Such a person. Tasya evam antaraya vihata yoga arambhamanasya produced an obstacle to his practice of yoga, who now produced an obstacle to the practice of yoga. Mriga arbaka poshana palana prinana lalana anusanga. He forgot himself by petting, showing affection for protecting and nourishing that young deer. Durata Duratikrama kalaha. While he was doing this, inevitable death. Karala Rabasa with great speed. Atmanam apadyata. It approached Bharat Maharaj. Ahir iva akubilam. Just as snake approaches a mouse hole, uh, uh, death approached Bharat Maharaj while he became very, very busy taking care of the deer. Taking care of the deer. So, here it says, he fell from his position in yoga and worship of the Lord by the influence of karmas of this life, which manifested a small deer to him. Prarabdha karma is of two types, auspicious and inauspicious. The first type occurs by the will of the Lord to increase longing for devotion to the Lord, like sharp ointment applied to the eyes. So, the first type of prarabdha karma appears by the will of the Lord. It appears by the will of the Lord, like sharp ointment applied to the eyes. Okay. So when a sharp ointment is applied to the eyes, it is for multiple purposes. Sometimes it is applied to uh, enhance the vision. It enhances the vision and clarity. Or otherwise, it is applied. When it is applied, what happens? It removes the dust and other particles from the eyes by agitating the tear glands. So when it agitates the tear glands and all the dust particles get removed from the eyes, then the vision becomes very clear. So even though while applying that ointment looks it is little bit irritating. Even though it is irritating, but it is eventually beneficial. So similarly, the auspicious prarabdha karma, which occurs by the will of the Lord, may externally look like unfortunate, but it is actually fortunate. Okay. So this is accepted favorably by the devotee. So this auspicious prarabdha karma arranged by the Lord is accepted favorably by the devotee. Being similar to prarabdha karma, it is accepted as such. So the devotee out of his humility says, oh, I am suffering because of my own karma. The pure devotee, the perfected devotee, out of his natural humility thinks, oh, I am not a devotee, I am not beyond karma, so I am suffering because of my karma. Out of humility, he may think like that. So the perfected devotee may accept that prarabdha karma like situation which has been orchestrated by the Lord very favorably. He takes it very favorably. So how do we know whether it is arranged by the Lord or not? That which creates more intense bhakti in the future. Again, in Bharat Maharaj's case, you see, immediately it did not increase his bhakti. but in future it increases bhakti. Okay. That which creates more intense bhakti in the future takes place in those who already possess rati or bhava. So in the case of Bharat Maharaj, he already possessed rati or bhava. So in future, it is mentioned that when he became a deer, one may see it as a fall down, but fall down is fall down in consciousness. But the acharyas say, while he was a deer, his bhakti was 100 times more than the bhakti that he possessed as Bharat Maharaj, like that. So, yeah. So this is Su Arabdha Karmana, auspicious Prarabdha Karma, which is orchestrated by Krishna. The second type consists of results of actions of previous lifetimes, which manifest later as absorption in material life. Whereas the second type of Prarabdha Karma is due to past karma, and it results in absorption in material life. In the first type, in the verse, first type is indicated by the word Su in Swarabdha Karmana. He fell from his austerity of rejecting material enjoyment, which was produced by Bhakti Yoga. So again, whatever material enjoyment was available for him, prior to going to the forest was also orchestrated by his practice of bhakti, was also orchestrated by Krishna. Okay. So the word cha means even. Even though bhakti does not have great obstacles, he fell from the worship of the Lord by the will of the Lord. He fell from the worship of the Lord by the will of the Lord. How else could he fall except by prarabdha karma arranged by the will of the Lord? He had already given up his sons. Hridaya abhijatasya. You know, how can a person who had given up his own sons and become attached to a deer, accepting a deer as his own son? Or he fell by the semblance of karma in the form of the deer. So that is Swarabdha Karmana. Even though the Jivan Muktas do not have any false identity, they have a semblance of false identity. Okay. They may have a semblance of false identity. Similarly, those who have developed rati do not have prarabdha karma, but have semblance of prarabdha karma. Or he fell down because of the inferior form, abhasena, through auspicious prarabdha karma. So under the influence of his good prarabdha karma, Bharata took care of the deer. Otherwise, if there had been no good karma, he would not have a desire to care for the deer. Which means if the Lord had not specially orchestrated this situation, under normal circumstances, a Bhava Bhakta would never get attracted to a deer. He may feel a natural Vaishnava compassion towards all the living entities. Jagat Prinanam, Sarva Jagatam, Anuraktata. This is natural. Okay. This is natural, but not at the cost of his own devotion. So, definitely it is not possible for a Bhava Bhakta. But unless the Lord's special arrangement was not there, if it was not there, then there is no way a Bhava Bhakta would get attracted in this way. Bharata's fall, however, was arranged by the Lord for the purpose of increasing his longing for bhakti after taking birth as a deer and a Brahmana. Brahmana is Jada Bharata. The Lord has said, Naham tu sakyo bhajatopi jantun, bhajamyamisham anuvritti vrittaye, yatadano labdadane vinashte, tachin Chintayanyan Nibruto Naveda. So this is Krishna speaking to the gopis. He says, but the reason I do not immediately reciprocate the affection of living beings, even when they worship me, O gopis, is that I want to intensify their loving devotion. Okay. With a desire to intensify their loving devotion. Okay. I do not immediately reciprocate with the affection of the living beings. Then they become like a poor man who has gained some wealth and then lost it, and who thus becomes so anxious about it that he can think of nothing else. So I give a slight glimpse, like in the case of Narada Muni also. He experienced the presence of the Lord, but then suddenly the Lord disappeared. And the Lord said, little bit, you have got an opportunity, you have got a glimpse of my presence, and now you have lost it. You will feel like a rich man, you will feel like a man who has just become rich, but he has suddenly lost that wealth. He can think of nothing else than that wealth very intensely, and by that intense absorption in me, you will attain me very soon. So this is what is happening in the case of Bharat Maharaj. He did not think of himself. Death arrived like a snake approaching a mouse hole. So this is the situation of Bharat Maharaj. Very clearly, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti is clarifying here by explaining the phrase Swarabdha Karmana. So as Su Arabdha Karmana, that which looks like Prarabdha Karma, but that which was specifically orchestrated by Krishna in order to intensify the longing in the heart of Bharat Maharaj. He did this. तदानीम् अपि पार्श्ववर्तिनम् आत्मजम् इव अनुशोचन्तम् अभिवीक्षमाणो मृग एव अभिनिवेशितमना विसृज्य लोकम् इमं सह मृगेण कलेवरं मृतम् अनु न मृत जन्म अनुस्मृतिः इतरवद् मृग शरीरम् अवाप. Seeing the deer lamenting by his side like a son. So when he was leaving his body, the deer was also standing right by his side, and it was weeping and lamenting. And absorbed in thinking of the deer, he gave up his body in the company of the deer. After the death of his body, without loss of memory of his previous life, he attained the body of a deer as if undergoing karma. Oh my God, this is a very packed verse. Every word is very much loaded. You see here. This is very important. Mriga abhivikshamanaha, seeing the deer, parshvavartinam anushojantam, lamenting by his side, atmajamiva, like his son, mriga eva abhiniveshitamana, absorbed in thinking of the deer, visrijya lokamimam saha mrigena. He gave up his body in the company of the deer. We say, okay, very fair. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejatyante kalevaram tam tam eva iti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitah. Okay. So he says that, oh, you see, whatever one thinks at the end of the life, one gets that form. Fine, fair enough. But what about neha vikramanashosti pratyavayona vidyate? Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. The acharyas explain, even little bit of bhakti you have done, you are guaranteed a human life. And at the same time, this yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. So here is the case of Bharat Maharaj. You know what? Actually, someone recently shared me a quote of Srila Prabhupada. Someone asked Srila Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, we offer these flowers and fruits to Krishna. What happens to these flowers and fruits? Srila Prabhupada said, the tree which offered these flowers and fruits for the service of Krishna is guaranteed a human birth. Like that, Srila Prabhupada says. So now if that is the case, then why not Bharat Maharaj? He had attained a spiritual form. Bhava means Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma Prema Suryamshu Samya Bhag Ruchibis Chittam Asrinya Kridaso Bhava Uchyate. Srila Rupa Goswami says that at the stage of Bhava, one receives the spiritual form. He has now become, he has established a permanent relationship with Krishna. At that stage, how is it possible that he get attracted to the deer? Or even if he gets attracted to the deer, then what happened to the principle of Neha Vikramanashosti? How can he get a deer's body? So this principle of Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam is a very interesting principle. Okay, I will touch this point. This is very interesting. Krishna says, if you see, Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam Tejatyante Kalevaram. Before that, he says, what is that? What is that verse? Krishna says, whoever remembers me, attains me at the time of death. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. Yap prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayah. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. So he says, one who remembers me at the time of death, yap prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayah. He attains my form without a doubt, or he attains me without a doubt, Krishna says. Why? The principle is that yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejatyante kalevaram tam tameva iti kaunteya. Generally, in translating this verse, we leave the translation there. Even though we may speak the whole verse, but we leave the translation there. What is that? Because whatever one remembers at the time of death, he attains that he attains that destination after death. But the last phrase is most important. What is the last phrase? Sada tadbhava bhavitaha. Why he remembers something at the time of death? Because he has always remembered that. So sada tadbhava bhavitaha. Because he has always remembered. And Bharat Maharaj throughout his life had always remembered Krishna. So why he would remember the deer at the time of death? Unless it was orchestrated by Krishna. So sada tadbhava bhavitaha. So therefore Krishna says, Tasmad sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha. Therefore at all times try to remember me. At all times remember me and fight. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha. Therefore at all times you remember me and fight. Okay. So this is the principle. So Bharat Maharaj at all the times. So it's not like incidentally you just think of the deer at the time of death. It is not possible. This is a very this is a deviation from the generic principle. This is a deviation from the generic principle. This is not the normal course of action. A person at the so you cannot use the episode of Bharat Maharaj to say that, oh look, even a person at the stage of bhava can get attracted to material objects, material living entities. It is possible. One should not come to such a conclusion because this pastime is not meant to describe the characteristics of a person at the stage of bhava. The acharyas do not explain this pastime in this way. Otherwise, someone may say, look, what stage was Bharat Maharaj? Bhava. And at the stage of bhava, did he not get attracted to the deer? Yes, he did. This proves that even at the stage of bhava, one can succumb to material attachments and fall down. Now, is this a fair enough conclusion? Answer is no. But you see here, that's what happened. Bharat Maharaj was at the stage of bhava. He did get attracted to the deer and he kind of fell down. So someone may say that, so this is possible even for a person at the stage of bhava. But you cannot do that. So you cannot utilize. So the moral of the story has to be illuminated by the acharyas in such a way that it does not contradict the generic Siddhantic principles. Okay. The generic principles of Bhakti Siddhanta should not be contradicted. So if the acharyas explain it this way, then we accept. Otherwise, utilizing our anuman or generic logic, utilizing generic logic in the pastimes of the Supreme Lord does not become philosophical speculation. It is still mental speculation only. Okay. So the kind of speculation, what Srila Prabhupada calls as philosophical speculation is what is called as Shastra Yukti. Shastra Yukti means the logic of the Shastras. And you understand the logic of the Shastras by constantly understanding the Siddhanta through the writings of the Acharyas. Otherwise, it can always lead to incomplete conclusions or outright wrong conclusions. Another example Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives in his Madhurya Kadambini is that someone may say that, look, Jagai and Madai, we say that Vaishnava Parad is bad, but Jagai and Madai offended Nityananda Prabhu. And what did they get in return? They got Krishna Prem. They got Krishna Prem. So if at all you want to offend a very, very great Vaishnava, and by that you will very quickly get Krishna Prem. Can someone come to such a conclusion? You can say that, oh, of course not. No, why not? What did Jagai and Madai do? They were almost going to kill Nityananda Prabhu. And in return, what they got? Krishna Prem. So, this is very fair enough, right? A fair conclusion that that if at all you want to attain Krishna Prema, then offend a very, very great Vaishnava, very quickly you will attain Krishna Prema. Can one come to such a conclusion? No. Right? So similarly, there are so many cases, we have to see the pastime through the illumination of the acharyas. Okay. Like for example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu going to Gaya to perform Shraddha ceremony for his parents. We have heard so many devotees, speaking like even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to perform Shraddha ceremony for his parents. If Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is performing, who are we? We should also perform. So now, if you read just the same purport and in the same chapter, multiple purports, in Chaitanya Bhagavat, the explanation of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, many, many times, again and again and again, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur hammers this point that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performing Shraddha ceremony for his father was just to bewilder the Smartas. Very clear. Was just to bewilder the Smartas. Our devotees say that, oh, you know what? Narsingadev asked Prahlad Maharaj to perform Shraddha ceremony to his father Hiranyakashipu. So therefore, if Narsingadev instructed to Prahlad Maharaj, who was a perfected devotee, we are just ordinary sadhakas. So we should also do. Fine. Very good conclusion. But did you even bother to read the purport that is given right below that? What does Srila Prabhupada say? What does Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur say? Please read the purports. Very clearly they say that actually it is not at all needed for a devotee to do it. But because Bharat Maharaj was a king, purely for Loka Sangraha purpose, he had asked. Otherwise it was not needed. Very clear. Again and again, all acharyas, very consistent purport. Okay. And elsewhere, in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says that, if the Shraddha ceremony is not done, if I fight and kill all the Kshatriyas, then the sons of those Kshatriyas will not get proper training. And if they don't get proper training, then they will not perform Shraddha to their fathers, and those forefathers will go to hell. So they say that, look, Arjuna also said, so we should do. But look at the same purport. In that same purport, what does Srila Prabhupada say? Srila Prabhupada says, Yatataror mula nishechanena trapyanti tatskanda bhujopashaka. If you water the root, no need to water the leaves and branches. Devarshi bhutatranam pitranam nakinkaro nayam rinicharajan. Very clear purport. Okay. So it is not needed. So therefore, it is important that we allow the acharyas to illuminate the pastime rather than allowing our own intelligence to illuminate the pastime. Okay. So that is actually philosophical speculation. Otherwise, if we use our own material logic to understand a particular pastime, it is mental speculation only. It is not philosophical speculation. So here is the case of Bharat Maharaj. This pastime is not to present the general nature of a Bhava Bhakta. Okay. The characteristics of a Bhava Bhakta. This pastime is not meant for illustrating the characteristics of a Bhava Bhakta. This pastime is meant as a guidelines or a guiding force for ordinary sadhakas to be very careful about what they get attracted to. About what they get attracted to. So again, we were seeing, why does Krishna utilize his perfected devotees to perform these pastimes to show, sometimes he uses the Pandavas who are Bhakti Adhikaris to show to other people, to show to Karma Adhikaris how to perform karma. Like in the Mahabharata, they were perfect karma yogis. Okay. Why can't Krishna use karma yogis only to show that? Okay. Why can't Krishna use karma yogis only to show that? Krishna can, but Krishna wants, in all his plans, he wants his trusted lieutenants. He wants his trusted lieutenants to perform that act. Snigdeshu Pandushu Jagat Pranatimscha Vishnu. The Pandavas were completely malleable to execute the script of Krishna. They know that I am doing a stage play. They know that I am doing a stage play. Okay. So they go and act and come back. That's all. They go, they perform that act and come back because they are malleable to the script of Krishna. So otherwise, if Krishna depends only on the adhikar, if he uses someone having karma adhikar to show what is a karma adhikar, what does a karma adhikari do? A karma adhikari can get distracted and in between perform adharmic acts also. Or a karma adhikari may get qualified to become a jnana adhikari and he can take up to the path of jnana or ashtanga yoga. Or a karma adhikari may come in touch with a devotee and his adhikar may change to bhakti adhikar. So they will be acting, because they will be acting according to their adhikar. When their adhikar changes, their actions will change. But when the trusted lieutenant of Krishna, when he comes, if he is handed over the script to act as a karma adhikari, he will act exactly according to the script because he is not acting according to his adhikar. Similarly, Bharat Maharaj, what is the script? Act according to the script. Of course, and Yogamaya facilitates by converting his mentality in that way also. Like he thinks like a karma adhikari, he thinks like a materially attached person in the case of Bharat Maharaj. He thinks like a karma adhikari as in the case of the Pandavas, while enacting pastimes, those kind of pastimes which are depicted in Mahabharata. Okay, like that. So, in the purport, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti says, he saw the deer by his side, lamenting like his own son. Giving up his body in the presence of the deer, he attained the body of a deer like a person afflicted. Itaravat. You see here. Itaravat. Itaravat means just like an ordinary karmi, if he is meditating on his dear things at the time of death, then he will get a birth accordingly. So itaravat means as if undergoing karma, as if an ordinary person controlled by karma. Itaravat means as if. Okay. After his body died, his memory of his previous life was not destroyed. This is another point. So, na mrita janma anusmriti. Without loss of memory of his previous life. So this is, Krishna says, mrityur sarvaharas chaham. Mrityu or death destroys everything. So what is that everything? The acharyas say, any memory of the previous life is destroyed. No one remembers their previous life. Except for very, very rare cases where someone remembers their previous body and identifies with those previous body and relationships. Very rare case. They are called as Jati Smaras. Jati Smara. Okay. That is very rare. But generally that is not the case. So, however, Bharata was above karma. It has already been explained that he had no prarabdha karma. It was just a semblance of karma only. तत्रापिह वा आत्मनो मृगत्व कारणं भगवद आराधन समीहानुभावेन अनुस्मृत्य बृषम अनुतप्यमान आह. By the influence of his worship of the Lord, he could remember the cause of becoming a deer in this life, and he was greatly repentant. He spoke as follows. So, which deer remembers its previous life? In the case of Bharat Maharaj, Krishna arranged that as a deer, the deer remembered that it was a human being and a king in the previous life worshipping Krishna. So this was, the deer remembered this. Now, which deer remembers the previous life, or which even a human being remembers the previous life? Okay. So this very clearly indicates that there was orchestration by Krishna. And he spoke as follows. As a deer, he was speaking like this. So this is Bharat Maharaj as a deer. So this 29th verse is Bharat Maharaj as a deer speaking this verse. Aho kashtam brashtoham atmavatam anupatad yad vimukta samasta sangasya vivikta punyaranya sharanasyatmavata atmani sarvesham atmanam bhagavati vasudeve tad anushravana manana sankirtana aradhana अनुस्मरण अभियोगेन अशून्य सकलयामेन कालेन समावेशितं समाहितं कात्सन्येन मनस्तत्तु पुनर् मम अबुदस्य आराध मृगसुतम अनुपरिसुश्राव. So, as a deer, he was thinking, I have fallen from the path of the great devotees into a miserable condition. I, being intelligent, had renounced material association and had alone taken shelter of the pure forest. My mind was absorbed completely and continuously in Paramatma, the soul of all souls, Bhagavan Vasudeva, by hearing, contemplation, chanting, worshipping, and remembering. But then my mind foolishly became absorbed in a young deer and fell down. So the devotee, out of his natural humility, he will not think that, hey, how can a person at the stage of bhava fall down? It is not possible. This must be arranged by Krishna. Like that, the devotee himself does not think like that. Okay, out of his natural humility, he will not think like that. He will not think like that. It is only uh, uh, it is only the others who will think like that. Out of his natural humility, he will think that I was so foolish. He will not see that, oh, I am a bhava bhakta. Like that, he will not see. So he says, Atmavataha means wise. I was absorbed in Paramatma, the soul of all the jivas. My mind was fixed in taking the process of bhakti, such as remembrance, but I fell down. इत्येवं निगूढ़ निर्वेदो विसृज्य मृगीं मातरं पुनर्भगवत् क्षेत्रम उपशमशील मुनिगण दयितं शालग्रामं पुलस्त्य पुलहाश्रमं कालंजरात् प्रत्याजगाम. Becoming very disgusted, he gave up his dear mother. I mean, this time he took birth from a deer. That mother he gave up and went to the Kalanjara mountain to Pulaha Ashrama, the place of the Lord, the place called Shalagrama, which is dear to the sages with controlled mind. So Kalanjarat means from his birthplace on the mountain called as Kalanjara. Shalagrama is the name of the place to which he returned. Tasminnapi kalam pratikshamaanaha sangacha brisham udvigna atma sahacharah shushkaparna trina viruda vartamano mrigatva निमित्तावसानम एव गणयन मृगशरीरम तीर्थोदक क्लिन्नम उत्ससर्ज. in that place, waiting for his death, greatly disturbed by bad association, taking Paramatma as his companion, subsisting on dry leaves, grass, and bushes, bathing in the holy water, and calculating how to end the cause of taking a dear body, he finally gave up that body. So he was right there, engaged not in any dear activity. He would just sit or stand in that Pulaha ashrama and, continuously be hearing Krishna Katha uh, being spoken by the great sages, and just waiting. Kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsarah. He was just waiting for his death. Okay. Thus ends the commentary on the 8th chapter of the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam for the pleasure of the devotees in accordance with the previous acharyas. Okay. So, any quick discussion points, comments, questions, anything anyone would like to share as guide, we can take it right now. There's something in the chat box. Let's try to take that first. Not only for Bharat Maharaj, all sadhakas, their next life is under the control of Krishna and not under the law of karma. Yes, correct. That is true. Why the arrangement of the Lord itself is called as prarabdha karma? It says swarabdha karma, su arabdha karma. So the prefix su indicates that it is not, the word arabdha karma is used because it looks like prarabdha karma. Okay. But the prefix su indicates that it is not like ordinary prarabdha karma. It is some special auspicious type of prarabdha karma which is orchestrated specifically by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the word prarabdha karma indicates that it was orchestrated by Krishna. Sorry, that it looks like prarabdha karma, and the prefix su indicates that it is not ordinary prarabdha karma, but this is some kind of a very special type orchestrated specifically by Krishna. Okay. Yeah, for someone who has attained the Sthai Bhava or Rati, he is continuously in Krishna Smaranam. That is true. Okay, that is another question. Sages are Trikala Darshi. They are knowers of past, present, and future. So none of the sages came to know that this deer is special deer of Bharat Maharaj. There is no mention of it. There is no mention of it. So yes, sages are Trikalagnya, but if Krishna wants them to know about Bharat Maharaj's past, then they will know. If Krishna does not want to know, they will not know. But whether they knew or not is not very clearly mentioned here. So we cannot speculate on that. Whether they actually knew or not, did they know that Bharat Maharaj was, that deer was Bharat Maharaj in his previous life? We do not know. It's not mentioned clearly. So we cannot say for sure. They may have known, they may not know. Yeah, there is this Kaimutya Nyaya, which is mentioned here. Okay. Oh, if a great personality like Bharat Maharaj himself has to be very careful, how much more careful we must be? Yeah, that kind of a Nyaya is used here. Yes. Okay. Yes, Keshav Premataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Kandavat pranams.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, what is the exact lesson that Krishna wants to show through Bharata Maharaj, Prabhuji? Because you said this lifetime, it's mentioned here, this lifetime itself, this prarabdha karma of being Bharat Maharaj itself orchestrated by Krishna, Prabhuji. That he is getting attracted to deer, that itself is orchestrated by
No,
Krishna.
he is getting attracted to the deer is orchestrated by Krishna.
Okay. So what exact, now you were discussing about Yamam Vyapi Smaran Bhavam and Antakali Shamameva, all those things you discussed, Prabhuji. So I'm just trying to understand what exactly we are supposed to understand from this pastime, Prabhuji. What is the
From
lesson?
this pastime, as sadhakas, we should understand that we should be very careful about our attachments. We should not be very careless in in even material compassion, because that which looks very pious, eventually, if it becomes an obstacle to our bhakti, we should be very careful to reject it. Okay. That is the principle that he is trying to show through Bharat Maharaj.
Prabhuji, earlier also you have told many times, Prabhuji, compassion is a natural default quality a devotee will develop, Prabhuji. Naturally,
Yeah.
they will start
Yeah.
developing.
Yeah.
So, in that, how to draw the line, Prabhuji? Like, as you rightly said, it all starts with good intention only. Any activity
Yeah.
for a devotee,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
somewhere it is drawing us to some pits and falls, Prabhuji. So, in this showing compassion to others, because we are in preaching movement, Prabhuji, we are also trying to show compassion, at least.
Yeah.
Whether we have compassion, we are trying to show compassion. So,
Yeah.
what exactly the line we should draw in this, Prabhuji?
Yeah, the line is defined by other taking guidance.
Oh.
Okay. Taking guidance, that are we taking the acting according to the principle of anukulyasa sankalpa pratikulyasa varjanam. So where the compassion itself becomes pratikul. See, compassion is very good, but at some point when that compassion becomes pratikul for bhakti, like here we see the case of this neglect of one's own prescribed duties in the because of that compassion. So that's where, when we have some good guidance, they will say, yes, what you're doing is right. Compassion is very good, but not at the cost of your this thing. So the priority is you are wrongly prioritizing compassion over the desire to please Krishna, like that.
So, Prabhuji, here what Bharat Maharaj missed the guidance of higher authority. Is that the reason, Prabhuji?
Yeah, that is another reason. Yeah. In the case of Bharat Maharaj, he does not need higher authority guidance because he is at the stage of bhava. But because he is acting like a sadhaka under the influence of Krishna's Yoga Maya, so he's showing us that at no point you should think that you are beyond taking guidance.
Prabhuji, so after Bhava, you mentioned earlier, Prabhuji, even in Goloka, we need association. There's no point in our life that there is a point that we don't need any association. You're insisting that, Prabhuji, in the other day.
Yeah, but there at every stage, what I mentioned is, at every stage, the more we progress, the more we feel that I am dependent on association.
Oh.
But otherwise, why would Krishna tell to Uddhava that you can be your own guru? So a self-realized person can be his own guru, but the more he comes closer to self-realization, he thinks that I am very dependent. So there is his mentality. One thing is about his mentality. Another thing is about what is reality. In reality, even if he is alone, there is not going to be any obstacle to his attaining perfection. But his mentality is that, oh, I need association. I need association. That is his mentality. But the reality is, even if there is no association, he can attain perfection.
Oh. So in reality, since Bharat Maharaj has attained Rati, he is himself self-realized. He doesn't need a guru, need a guidance, but only because of Krishna's intervention, it looks like that he is deviated.
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
yeah.
Should understand it way. Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shivakumar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dhanavad Pranams, Prabhu. So, one or two questions, Prabhu, from today's class, and then I will touch upon the older topic, Prabhu. I had some questions. I'll just quickly touch upon that. So, from today's class, Prabhu, you were mentioning that like a sadhaka. So, it's a basic question, Prabhu. I'm sorry, I'm asking very basic question. So, the bhava and prema are not Vaidhi Bhakti, Prabhu. It's Raganuga, right? Is that this thing?
Bhava and prema are Siddha Bhakti, or means perfected Bhakti.
Okay.
Raganuga is also sadhana bhakti. Vaidhi is also sadhana bhakti. Raganuga is also sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti means where you do not have that spontaneous, where your actions are not spontaneously stimulated only by the desire to serve Krishna.
Okay.
So when in the absence of that spontaneous emotion, it is sadhana bhakti. So that
Okay.
sadhana bhakti is seen in both. It has two flavors. One is Vaidhi and another is Raganuga. Vaidhi is where, in the absence of that spontaneous desire to serve Krishna, when the stimulus for performing bhakti comes from the injunctions of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, primarily, then that is called as Vaidhi sadhana.
Okay.
But when that same stimulus is coming from looking at the life of the Vrajavasis, okay, I wish to develop that kind of love. So then that is called as Raganuga sadhana bhakti.
Oh.
But whoever has that kind of love, they are called as Ragatmika bhaktas or Bhava bhaktas or Prema bhaktas.
Okay. So Raganuga Bhaktas also can be in the stage of Anartha Nivritti, Prabhu, or is it only after Nishtha?
Raganuga bhaktas will also have some anarthas, but definitely the gross anarthas will definitely not be there.
Okay. Prabhu. So any insight, Prabhu, as to when would Vaidhi Bhakti would transition into Raganuga in the 7 stages, Prabhu, in the first 7 stages of devotion?
Generally, not before Nishtha. But from Nishtha onwards, it can happen anytime depending on the quality of association that we have.
Okay, Prabhu. Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Prabhu, just few questions, Prabhu, on the older topic of this demigod worship and the pure devotion service practitioners, Prabhu, on that topic. I just thought about it, Prabhu, and past 2 days have been very overwhelming for me. I thought I will share it with you. I think there is a lot of discussion that has happened in the past. And each and every question that I get when I kind of dig down and introspect myself, I could recollect your discussions in some or the other classes, Prabhu. So it was very overwhelming for me to kind of recollect that it seems we have touched upon almost all nook and corner nitty-gritties of this topic. But still, and there is a lot of clarity that I got, Prabhu. Thank you so much for that. But still, I have few things, Prabhu. I don't recollect discussing these points in the earlier classes. So one thing that I wanted to, few things. Let me start with one thing, Prabhu. The strength of purity and the strength of faith and purity of faith, Prabhu. I feel there is some overlap. And let me ask this question. Like say, I succumb to a sense gratification, and we understand that is weak. That is weakness of my faith, and the conditioning basically, and because of my conditioning, I am succumbing to sense gratification. Now, can I have a conditioning of demigod worship itself? In the sense, there are some festivals in a year. There are some cultural things that are happening in my family, in my environment. And I have some sentiments in the heart, or I draw some pleasure itself by such worship. And by that conditioning, I go and stand in front of the demigod, or I feel like worshipping the demigod, and things like that. Can that be looked at as conditioning? In which case, doesn't it bite into the purity of faith itself?
Possible. I mean, so that has to be a little bit more examined. That sometimes people don't think too much in terms of the festival itself has created a deep impact of joy and other such sentiments that without really thinking in terms of who is the supreme personality of Godhead or whatever, not really thinking along those lines, but they go and stand and do certain things because from the young age, those particular festivals have left a very deep impact of joy and, spending time with their dear ones. Those kind of impressions have been created. So when those festivals come, they may naturally do certain things out of the past conditioning, even though under normal circumstances, they may not necessarily worship the demigods or anything of that sort. But they may have some impressions of past pleasurable experiences in connection with those festivals. So they may participate in that by that stimulus, rather than thinking too much about, am I supposed to do demigod worship as a Vaishnava and things like that? They may not necessarily think like that. So if that is how it is happening, then it's okay. But if they consciously think that, yes, I have to actually worship the demigod also, if not, then I may have problems in the future, either in my material life or in my spiritual life also. There may be obstacles by not by not worshiping the demigods. If one starts thinking along those lines, then definitely that is a mixed faith. So we have to see it's not just the act; it is the stimulus that is behind that act. What is stimulating that act? That has to be seen very carefully.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, yes, Prabhu. So on the same line, Prabhu, now this is with respect to the festivals and the sentiments and from the past practices. Now let me ask the same question from this angle, Prabhu. Even if I'm put through some difficulties, I understand it's for my own purification. But if I am resisting that purification, I am resisting, or I am not in a position to devotionally respond to the situation that Krishna puts me in.
Yeah.
And I try to take shelter of demigods to circumvent my challenge or my difficulty. Is that also not a compromise of the purity of faith, Prabhu?
Yeah, it is.
Then how do we differentiate that strength of faith and purity of faith, Prabhu? Is it not that those two are related to each other and it's not like disconnected
Is
from
there a
those?
relation? Yes, there is a relation, in the sense one who has stronger faith is uh, is is more immune to getting his own faith impure. The one who has a weaker faith is more vulnerable to get his faith this thing. So is there a overlap? There is no overlap, but there is a connection for sure. That weak faith is more vulnerable faith. Strong faith is less vulnerable faith. So weak faith can very quickly, under difficult situations, weak faith, when it gets the inappropriate association, that weak faith can transform into mixed faith. So that is very much possible.
Okay, Prabhu. Okay. And Prabhu, one more question, Prabhu. Now, we discussed on these four stages, Prabhu, right? The succumbing, doubtailing, yukta vairagya, and then spontaneous love of pure devotional service. So I'm just picking up on this doubtailing stage, Prabhu. That's also pure devotional service in our understanding from your discussions.
Even succumbing stage.
Even succumbing stage, yeah. Now, what to speak of doubtailing? Now, on that, Prabhu, I have this question. Now, let's take Bhagavad Gita 9:27. Yat karoshi yad dashnasi yad juhoshi tadasi yat. Our understanding from your discussions is this is mixed faith. I do what I like to do and I offer the results to Krishna.
Yeah. I do what I like means I do what I like according to the Dharma Shastras. That is the context of that whole discussion. So according to Dharma Shastras and generic activities. So there may not be a consistent desire to engage only in devotional activities. Okay. So someone may say, okay, I want to do my Varnashram duties also. Okay, do it and offer the fruits. So that is the context of that verse as explained by some of the acharyas.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
if you take that explanation, then that is mixed devotional service.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Prabhu. Okay, thanks, Prabhu. So this clarifies in terms of the activity itself. Now let's take within the devotion also, Prabhu. Say my, often this topic comes up, my guru or my authority
Hmm.
asks me to involve in a certain type of activities, devotion service activities. But that is not my likable activity, or that does not suit my swabhava according to my condition.
Hmm.
And so there is internally, I am finding it difficult to accept that direction,
Mhm.
and I seek or try to do the things that I like to do according to my
Mhm.
condition or swabhava, even
Hmm.
within the
Hmm.
realm of devotional activities.
Hmm.
So that kind of an non-conformance to the authority,
Hmm.
is that, can that also be viewed as a mixed devotion, or in how do
It, yeah, that also has to be evaluated carefully. That could be mixed devotional, or that could be a sign of weak faith with lot of attachments,
you?
or weak surrender with lot of attachments.
Mm,
So it could be
mm,
mixed faith, or it could be weak surrender with strong attachments.
mm, mm,
So that could be a reason.
mm,
We will have to evaluate it. We do not know.
mm,
I mean, once we
mm,
evaluate, we will try to understand
mm,
more
mm.
better.
Yes, Prabhu. Because I see these things are little gray area, Prabhu, in the sense that we accept, even if I succumb to sense gratification, we accept it as an outcome of my conditioning, and I am still a pure devotional practitioner. But if I like to do devotional service only that suits the my swabhava or conditioning, it seems
Hmm.
then that falls in a different league.
No, not necessarily. It
Mhm.
depends on what is the stimulus. See, it all depends on what is the background. Uh, what is the background? What to say? Um, Wiring. You know,
Mm,
you
mm.
can't see you can't see the surface and come to a conclusion.
Okay, okay.
You have to evaluate the background wiring.
Mm,
You know,
mm, 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 mm.
get below what the surface and look at the circuit.
Ah, ah,
Hmm? Look at
ah,
the circuit, how it is wired.
ah.
So only when you will look at the circuit, you will realize whether it is mixed devotional or pure devotional.
Mm,
So it is not necessary that anyone who succumbs to material sense gratification in itself, it is not necessarily that he has to have pure faith. He can have mixed faith also. If people with pure faith can succumb, people
mm,
with mixed faith can also succumb.
mm,
Okay. So
mm,
succumbing in itself does not necessarily mean that it is pure faith.
mm,
Okay. So one
mm,
need not take it like that.
mm,
Okay. So therefore we have to learn to look beyond what is visible at the surface
mm,
and go to the inner wiring inside and try to understand
mm,
what is stimulating this external action.
mm,
So when we understand that, then that is where the answer is,
mm.
whether it is mixed or pure or whatever.
So can you give me an example, Prabhu, in this case scenario that we are talking? No, it's very clear that because of my past conditioning, I am succumbing to sense gratification momentarily. But if I find it difficult to do the service according to the authority,
Mhm.
what would be the stimulus, Prabhu? I'm trying to understand your
It just means that our surrender is meager in comparison to our own attachments.
Mm, mm, mm,
It's not that we don't want to surrender.
mm,
You have a particular threshold.
mm,
It's not that if that spiritual authority gives you. I'm specifically using the word spiritual authority and not managerial authority,
mm,
because the dynamics can change
mm, mm,
little
mm,
bit.
mm,
Becomes little complicated dynamic. So I'll keep it simple.
mm,
Okay. So
mm,
that person whom we consider as spiritual authority,
mm,
when he gives something
mm,
which is inconvenient, we
mm,
may not want to do. So
mm,
now, if you go a little bit into it, and
mm,
if he says, what level of inconvenience is intolerable, you will have to see.
mm,
Okay.
mm,
So
mm,
only if at least if we accept the very meaning that we accept someone as a spiritual authority means at least some level of inconvenience we will be willing to take in order to please that person. Otherwise, there is no relationship that exists only. Okay. Just that when that inconvenience goes beyond a particular threshold, we may resist. But till it reaches that threshold, we may not resist so much. So, which means beyond that threshold, our conditioning is greater than our surrender. Within that threshold, the conditioning is, that much conditioning is, definitely less than our surrender. But when it is pushed beyond that limit, beyond that threshold, then it becomes a problem. That's all.
Okay.
See, this is, you don't have to overthink. If even there may be devotees who may be much more surrendered than you. But if the Guru Maharaj says, today, right now, give up your family and come and stay with me. Don't look at your family members again at all. Like that, if the Guru Maharaj says, no one will say like that. Let's say, for example, the Guru says, how many people will be willing to follow it? They may say, Maharaj, please don't push me in this direction. No, I cannot do it immediately. I need time. I'm not ready for it. Does it mean they are mixed devotees? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Their level of surrender it has a particular threshold in comparison to their attachments. So when they are pushed beyond the threshold of attachment, then it may seem like they are acting in non-surrendered ways. It just means surrender or lack of surrender is not black and white. There are many shades of gray in between. Okay. So, and there may be cases where a disciple does everything which the Guru says because probably the Guru has not pushed him beyond his threshold. Okay. So, or maybe in some cases, he does not get any direct instructions from the Guru only. So in such cases, he keeps engaging. So he may have a blemishless record. I have never ever disobeyed the instructions of my Guru. Why? I never got any instruction from my Guru. So that may be the case. Or I got only generic instructions, from the Vyasasana. But there may be cases where some people may get very specific instructions from their Guru and they are not able to follow those instructions. So that does not necessarily mean that they are completely gone cases and, they have mixed faith. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, that's precisely my question, Prabhu. One last question on this topic for today, at least. So, you used the word. There are different shades and grades of surrender. So that's where exactly I have this question, Prabhu. If there are different shades and grades in the surrender, how do we understand that the one who is not initiated, who is initiated, who is a grahastha practicing bhakti, who is a full-time temple resident practicing bhakti, in different walks of life, can claim that it's Krishna's hand in my life and demigods have no hand in my life because I'm practicing pure devotional service.
Because the Shastras say, if the faith is pure, then the demigods are not handling. It is only Krishna who is handling. That's all simple. So if you accept Shastras, especially if you accept Bhakti Shastra, then you have to accept. Because even the demigods' hands in your life, it is not Pratyaksha Praman for you. It is only Shabda Praman. So if you are willing to accept Shabda Praman, you decide which Shabda Praman you want to accept. The Karma Kandiya Shabda Praman or Bhakti Shabda Praman. If you accept Bhakti Shabda Praman, this is what the Shabda says. This is not the opinion of any individual. This is the opinion of the Shabda Praman. So you have to, if the Shabda Praman says that, then you can choose to accept it or not accept it. That is up to you.
Yes, Prabhu. That's where I have this question, Prabhu. Can you take this 1129 Yavat Karmani? What is the slogan?
Tavat Karmani Kurvita. Na nirvidyate yavata.
Yes, Prabhu. In that, for that sloka, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada uses this. Let
Srila
me
Prabhupada's disciples.
Statement. Okay. Prabhu. unless one has developed firm faith in Lord Krishna by association with pure devotees and is thus engaged full time in the devotional service of the Lord, one should not neglect ordinary Vedic principles and duties as stated by Lord himself.
Okay. Can you just mark this down? Tomorrow, because we have completed a chapter, tomorrow, before starting the new chapter, we will start the session with Q&A. Okay. And I will take this very question.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Yes.
And of course, there were a few more hands up. So we will clear the backlog and then start the new chapter tomorrow.
Sure. Thanks.
So we will pause here. Thank you all very much for your patient listening and your enthusiastic participation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.